What free agent guards are out there that can help turn your team around? I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Yes, the playoffs are still raging, but for most of the league, it's the offseason. Time to look ahead to free agency. Today, we're going to take a look at the guard position, what's available, and I do think there are some players out there that can absolutely make a difference. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications. That's how you can help make a difference for us. Hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the free agent guards that are out there on the market. And again, it's a little bit deeper than what I expected here. Fred VanVleet is a team option. They just pushed his guarantee date back, or his decision date back, closer to the start of free agency, which officially begins at the beginning of July, technically last day of June. But Fred VanVleet and the Rockets widely believed to come to terms on a new deal. So is he actually available out there on the market? Not really, but again, he's technically a free agent, but expected to sign a new deal with the Houston Rockets. Kyrie Irving, unfortunate knee injury. He's probably going to sign a new deal with the Dallas Mavericks, but I think the knee injury, should he decide he doesn't want to, he's going to pick up that player option if he doesn't want to sign the extension with the Mavs. So again, another guy, very talented, but don't think he's actually available on the market. And even if he was, I think the knee injury would scare off some teams. James Harden, widely expected to either pick up that player option or stay with the Clippers. I know so far it's all guys that are not really going anywhere, but let's fix that right now. Bruce Brown, versatile, two-way player, has not been quite as good as he was in his Denver days, but right now with the Pelicans would like to keep him, but he's going to be a free agent. He is a prime candidate to get a mid-level exception from somebody. All teams are looking for two-way players. That's all the rage in the NBA right now. You have to have them, and Bruce Brown is certainly a guy who can do that, can defend multiple positions. Is he the best three-point shooter? No, but he's a guy that will be in demand, and I think somebody will scoop him up. He could get as much as the full mid-level exception from a team out there, and that would be about $14 million. Malcolm Brogdon, another guy. Already rumors that Malcolm Brogdon may be connected to the Clippers, by the way. They actually joined James Harden in the backcourt. Wrong side of 30 for Malcolm Brogdon. Has a history of injuries, but if he signs up with a team where he doesn't have to do a whole lot of heavy lifting, he could be a real difference maker come playoff time. He's a guy who can play both sides of the basketball, super efficient shooter. Malcolm Brogdon could be a really good get for a team hitting free agency after being traded to the Washington Wizards. I think Brogdon will be a very sought-after free agent target, and somebody will pay the full mid-level exception to get him. Again, right now, it's the Clippers who are already being linked to him, but they will not be the only team looking for the services of Malcolm Brogdon. Tim Hardaway Jr., microwave scorer, can knock down shots on the perimeter. I thought he had a pretty nice season with the Detroit Pistons, was a big part of their success this year. Here's another guy who, again, we look at Bruce Brown, we look at Malcolm Brogdon, we look at Tim Hardaway Jr., we look at D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert. Are these guys going to get the same amount? Unless they are able to re-sign with their incumbent teams, probably not. Malcolm Brogdon's going to take a pay cut off of $22 million. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to take a pay cut off of $18 million. But if he re-signs with the Pistons, maybe there's something there in that price range for him. Otherwise, he's looking at mid-level exception money, which is fine. These guys, I like all these guys at MLE money. D'Angelo Russell is a really interesting one, particularly when I just talked about two-way players. You need guys who can play both sides of the ball. We know D'Angelo Russell is a one-way player. He plays on the offensive side, doesn't give you a lot defensively. So I'm really curious to see what the market is for D'Angelo Russell this summer. This is a guy who's very talented, extremely versatile offensive player, can shoot the three, can score from the mid-range, can get to the basket. Yeah, okay. Doesn't have the best athleticism, but super long wingspan. I'm really curious to see what the market bears out for him. He's probably an MLE guy somewhere, maybe a little bit less, though, because of the defensive deficiencies. I'm going to be fascinated to see what his market actually looks like. Then we go look at a guy like Karis LeVert, has been hit or miss for the Atlanta Hawks, $16 million. Probably another guy that gets north of the taxpayer mid-level. But I'll tell you this, of these guys that I've named, Bruce Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, Hardaway Jr., D'Angelo Russell, Karis LeVert, unless they all wind up staying with their incumbent teams, there's a pretty good chance that the number of teams out there that have the full MLE, the $14 million to spend, don't all wind up using it. And some are going to use it on other positions, not the guard position. So my prediction would be that at least one of these guys that we've just gone over actually winds up signing with somebody for the taxpayer mid-level, if that, because they're going to get squeezed in the market. You're going to have the teams who have the mid-level exception either use it or say we are not going to use it. Instead, we're going to save it. We're going to hold it going into the season, and we're going to use it as a trade exception. We're going to use it to help facilitate a trade midseason. That's something I think a lot of teams will do as well. So somebody's getting squeezed. Who it's going to be, I don't know just yet, but somebody on this list is getting squeezed and is going to wind up having to take $5.1 million on a taxpayer mid-level from somebody, because not everybody that has the full mid-level is even going to use it. And remember, the only team out there right now with significant cap space, it's the Brooklyn Nets, at least with max cap space. Anyway, Luke Kennard, three-point shooter, again, not getting $14 million. This is another guy that's going to have to take a pay cut. For me, he's a taxpayer MLE guy. Dennis Schroeder, same thing. Schroeder was great for the Pistons. I thought his veteran savvy really brought something to that team. The Pistons, boy, a lot of decisions. Tim Hardaway Jr., Dennis Schroeder, and another guy we're going to get to in a minute, all free agents from the Pistons backcourt. But Dennis Schroeder, I thought, filled in admirably, especially with Jaden Ivey out. With the return of Jaden Ivey, hopefully, fingers crossed, a healthy Jaden Ivey, though, will they let Schroeder go? I don't think he gets $12.7 million somewhere. I think he winds up landing somewhere as a taxpayer mid-level guy. Again, a $5.1 million guy. Matisse Thybulle as a player option, $11.6 million. I don't think he's going to get that. I love Matisse Thybulle. I think he's a fantastic player. I don't think he's going to get that on the market, though. So I think he picks up that player option of 11.6. Don't see him actually available. If he is available, teams should 100% be interested, but I don't think he'll go someplace for more than that $11.6 million. Chris Paul, they love Chris Paul in San Antonio. It wouldn't shock me at all if CP3 winds up just staying in San Antonio, another veteran with De'Aaron Fox, and do that. Or maybe he just says, you know what, this is it. This is it. We'll see. Trey Jones, young guard with the Chicago Bulls, but guess what? The Chicago Bulls have tons of guards. So he's going to be probably available out there on the market, unless the Bulls just say, you know what, we're going to bring you back just to make sure we don't lose you for nothing. We're going to try to keep you as an exception here, or as a trade option anyway. Pat Connaughton, the Bucks have tried to move Pat Connaughton and they can't. He's not anymore. He's not worth the $9.4 million on his contract. So he's going to pick up that option. Whether or not he stays with the Bucks, I think the whole Bucks roster is going to be torn down. So I do think that Pat Connaughton most likely winds up being moved somewhere where, I don't know, but I don't think anybody's going to go after him on the trade market. Gary Payton II, though, when we talk about two-way players, can shoot the three a little bit, has made some big shots for the Warriors in the playoffs, and he's a solid defensive player. 32 years old, but he will land somewhere. In fact, I think you could make the argument that teams would prefer to have like a Gary Payton II over maybe a more talented player, let's be honest, in, say, D'Angelo Russell, or even maybe a Karis LeVert or someone like that. Gary Payton II, because of his defensive capabilities, I think he will be in high demand there. Then we get into some guys that are team options. We've got Micic, who's probably winds up getting that club option declined at $8.1 million. Gary Harris, though, his will get picked up by the Orlando Magic. They'll want to keep him as a trade chip. That's why they signed him to the contract that they did. Josh Giddey is going to get a new deal with the Chicago Bulls. He's a restricted free agent, and I don't see anybody testing the Bulls to try to get them to pay more or something for Josh Giddey. Again, there's not money out there. Javon Carter, $6.8 million, fell out of the rotation, and yet again, another guard for the Chicago Bulls. They have so many guards. Remember, they gave Lonzo Ball a new deal too. Javon Carter, he's going to wind up, especially because Josh Giddey is handling the ball so much too. But Javon Carter, if I'm him, I'm picking up that 6.8 million. He's not getting that on the market. You pick it up, and then you hope the Bulls can trade you somewhere where you'll have more of an opportunity. But this is the one I really wanted to talk about with the Detroit Pistons. Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley had a great season shooting the ball. Lakers fans roll their eyes and say, of course, now he has a great season shooting the ball. But he really was fantastic. 42% from three, 16 points per game, vastly outperforming his contract value. I even liked some of the things Beasley did defensively. And at 28 years old, still very much in his prime. Solid season from Malik. Yeah, the playoffs didn't end the way that he wanted it to. Made a few mistakes there in crunch time. But Malik Beasley, he's going to get paid. I think he gets paid by the Pistons. If not, I don't know what's going to happen. But I know he's worth more than the $6 million. Based on the way he's producing right now, he's worth more than the $6 million that he was getting last year. So he will get a raise somewhere. I think it's going to be from the Detroit Pistons. But if not, I think there will be teams very interested in him in the market. Probably we're talking full MLE for him. But again, I'd be surprised if Detroit let him walk away. Davion Mitchell, another excellent defensive guard, a restricted free agent. Miami got him via trade during the season. I think that he's the kind of guy that they're going to want to try to hang on to if they can. I don't think they want to let him walk away. But if they do, there'll be a number of teams that I think will be interested in a defense-first guard, even if his shot can be a bit wayward. And now we get into Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You've got Aaron Holiday there, team option. My guess would be the Rockets probably pick that up and not to just lose him for nothing. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, though, this is one where the Wolves are actually in a bit of a crunch positionally and cap-wise. So they're going to have to make some tough decisions. Naz Reid can hit free agency as well. They definitely don't want to lose him. I do think that Nickeil Alexander-Walker could very well be actually available. Not like, oh, his team would like to keep him or anything like that. Like the Wolves may say, you know what, we're not going to be able to match market value for you. And I think he'd be a fantastic get. Again, look at all these players that we think are probably like mid-level exception type guys. Add Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who is a solid defender, shoots the three a little bit. But look at you, add him to these other guys we were looking at. Tim Hardaway Jr., D'Angelo Russell, Brogdon, Bruce Brown, Karis LeVert, Dennis Schroeder. Like, are we talking about guys where you get them and you say, that power shift, that team's winning a championship now? No, but these are legitimate rotation players, playoff quality rotation players. Most of them are. That's what we're talking about here. And I think that's exciting that there's that kind of optionality out there on the guard market. Eric Gordon, I don't know what he's going to, I would have to imagine he sticks in Philly, but 36 years old. Maybe he's done. We'll see. Amir Coffey, I skipped him, and Trey Mann. Trey Mann restricted. I would imagine Charlotte probably wants to hang on to him. I don't know what they're willing to pay to do it, though. Amir Coffey, unrestricted. I like him. Lanky player, has the ability to guard multiple positions, so I like that. The Clippers, my guess would be that they do what they can to hang on to him, but unrestricted free agent, so there's another option out there on the market. Russell Westbrook has a $3.5 million player option. If you've seen the way he's been shooting the corner three in the playoffs, if you buy that, maybe he gets more. Maybe he opts out and gets more. I thought for sure he would opt in, but he has legitimately played well in the playoffs. He's had his Russell Westbrook moments, but he's also made some big plays for the Denver Nuggets, who, as I'm recording this, are now up 2-1 on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Corey Joseph, that team option. If I'm the Magic, I probably decline that and then let him hit free agency. We'll see what the market looks like for him. Then you've got a couple of veterans, or three veterans here in a row. Before I get five. Look at all the veterans. Kyle Lowry, Seth Curry, Spencer Dinwiddie, Alec Burks, Patty Mills, Garrett Temple. All those guys, they'll probably land somewhere. A few may not. A few may call it. Does Spencer Dinwiddie find another spot after this? I don't know. Patty Mills, probably not, right? So some of these guys, this will be the last we see of them. A few of them, though, will probably wind up. We're talking veteran minimums on all those guys. Here's the interesting one to me, Dante Exum. I thought he really showed something with the Dallas Mavericks, suffered a number of injuries over the season, and so he missed some time. But Dante Exum, lanky defensive player, after being such a highly regarded draft prospect and then kind of washing out, he really built his game up and came back to the NBA. I think he's a really intriguing target for a lot of teams out there. The Mavs obviously would like to keep him, but obviously some turnover there with Dallas as well. So what is Dante Exum's future? I think he'd land somewhere with somebody in between the veteran minimum. Maybe he's a biannual exception guy, in between the veteran minimum and that taxpayer MLE. That would probably be the sweet spot for him, but an interesting player for somebody's backcourt. Another rotation guy. Tyus Jones bet on himself. Said, I'm not going to take more money. I'll take a minimum. I'll go to the Suns. I'm going to play for a winning team this season. I'm going to be the starter, and I'm going to prove to everybody my value on a winning Suns team. Whoops. Sometimes betting on yourself does not pay off, and the Phoenix Suns had a nightmare disaster of a season. That said, we're not that far removed from Tyus Jones being widely considered to be the best backup guard in the NBA. Will somebody get him on a minimum? If they do, I think it'll still be a steal. I think he's still a quality guard that can give you stuff off the bench. But I think what we know right now is that he's just probably not a starter. He's a great high-level backup in the NBA, and that's okay. I don't know that he can be a night-in, night-out starter on a winning team. And we'll see if he gets out of it. They looked miserable in Phoenix. If I was Tyus Jones, I'd be trying to get out of there if I can, and he does have free agency on his side. DeLon Wright, veteran, not playing a ton. We'll see that maybe that's it for him. Same thing with guys like Monte Morris. Now, I did want to mention Quentin Grimes. Interesting player here. Quentin Grimes has got 2.7 million, but restricted free agent, and he was fantastic for Philly. He's going to get more. Philly, I would imagine, would want to keep him. This is part of the reason why the Mavs traded him, was because they knew they were going to have to pay him in the summer. Philly would like to keep Quentin Grimes. We'll see if they can do it, or if any other team goes to try to challenge them. His free agency will be an interesting one to watch because, again, not a lot of money out there. Not a lot of money out there. Could the Brooklyn Nets make the 76ers blink? Probably. They could probably give Quentin Grimes that kind of an offer, but do they want to? Do they want to really make him a key piece moving forward? I don't know about that. And then we've got some guys you could take some flyers on. You know, the Kevin Porter Jr., I think, probably declines that player option that he's got for $2.5 million. I thought he did some good things with the Bucks. Probably deserves more than that. The rest of these guys are guys that you could take a flyer on. You can give it a try. Keon Johnson had a decent season with the Brooklyn Nets. Does Taylor Horton-Tucker, man, somehow Taylor Horton-Tucker is still just 24 years old. Does he land somewhere? Another Chicago guard. Once again, they've got so many. Cam Thomas is a restricted free agent. I don't think he gets away from Brooklyn. I like him a lot as a microwave scorer. Excellent, one of the top scorers in the NBA when you look at a per game basis. Obviously suffered some injuries, but high volume scorer. I can't imagine the Nets let him go, especially since he's restricted. Anybody that comes knocking, it'll either be a sign and trade if he's going to go anywhere else. The Nets aren't going to lose him for nothing. And again, looking through the rest of the list, is there a lot here? I'd imagine Jordan Goodwin's team option gets picked up with the Lakers. Ben Simmons, I guess, right? That's an interesting name. More playing like the center position, kind of, for the Clippers, being more of a big. Still very reluctant to shoot. But Ben Simmons, you know, a big name that's out there. Somebody will pick him up. And then Jalen Hood-Schifino, the former Lakers draft pick, will be an interesting player to keep an eye on. I still think he deserves another shot somewhere in the NBA. But again, the good news for all of this, there's a lot out there. Again, not necessarily top tier guys, not like, oh my God, this team's winning the title because they just got that guy. No, not so much that. But legit rotation guards, yeah, I think you could find them out there on the free agent market. So again, decent depth here on the guard market. Not quite the same when we're looking at the wing position or the center position. But everybody give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you want your team to target at the guard position? Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. Till next time, see ya and stay safe.